Hello everybody out there and welcome back here once again with another movie review here with the Future. In my Future's movie review series, I have done 10 other reviews, so if you've not seen all my reviews, I will put the playlist up in the suggested box to the right, and you can go back and check out all of my Future's movie reviews. I did do the Star Wars Force Awakens review along with my friend C-Dub, who has not yet saw the movie, so I'm going to do this one standalone. I was wanting to get him in this, but he's not been able to see it yet, so I saw it tonight, just coming off fresh, so I went ahead and just did the review by myself, and man, I wish I could get C-Dub's opinion, because my opinion of this movie is not good, guys. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I would never, diss Star Wars on purpose, or, set out to sabotage Star Wars, or, drown it in any way, but, this movie just did not feel right to me. It was all over the place. It didn't know whether it was like a space opera. Was it a mystical movie? Was it a funny movie for kids? Was it a serious movie? I mean, it was just all over the place. I mean, there was really no feeling to this movie of what kind of direction they were trying to go. Also, another thing is, I'm not against having female actresses, but there were 5 roles that I know of in this that were major roles that were female. Now, I'm not a sexist, and I'm not claiming that females shouldn't be, in those kind of roles of power and stuff like that, but all 5 or 6 power figures were, women. I'm not trying to spoil anything for anybody here, but it starts off where there's a huge battle, and I gotta tell you something, on the scroll at the beginning and the battle at the beginning of the movie, I was really psyched. I thought, man, this is really, really cool looking. It looked like it was going to start off really good. But it just gets so long and drawn out. They could have cut an hour of this movie out. I went with my dad to see it, and he agrees that they definitely could have cut probably an hour of this movie out and made it a lot better. But the story just didn't make sense to me in this movie. I get what they were doing. It was all about trying to get Luke to come out and help take down the First Order and help the Resistance. He kind of, resists going and helping. He doesn't want to be a Jedi anymore. He stopped practicing it. He's not one with the Force anymore. But, he teaches Daisy Ridley, which is none other than Rey. And Rey and Adam Driver have this connection throughout the movie where they're seeing each other. If you want to see a lot of, hands reaching out, trying to use the Force, and people, transporting and here and there, then this is the kind of movie for you. And if you want action, and really good action, and in 3D action, I went and saw it in 3D, I gotta say that the effects were tremendous. But it was over the top, in my opinion. Too much CGI. That's not Star Wars, in my opinion. The dialogue was really dry in this movie, in my opinion. I did not really care. I got tired probably an hour into it, and I was ready for this thing to be over. And my dad was sitting there saying the same thing. And I gotta tell you guys, I'm a Star Wars fan, but they should have quit after Return of the Jedi. I mean, there was no reason for the prequels. There's no reason for these sequels. I've got to say, it was not a great attempt. And I do not see how they can pull Episode 9 out after this movie. I'm not going to try to spoil the ending or anything. But, if you don't want to be spoiled, you might as well just turn this off right now, because Yoda makes an appearance in the movie. Yoda did not look great compared to what he did in the past. I love Puppet Yoda, from Empire Strikes Back. I mean, but, geez, he wasn't bad, but it just wasn't Yoda, in my opinion. And, it was cool to see Luke and Yoda again together in a scene, but man, I would have much rather seen the actual, puppet Yoda used. I don't know if it was a puppet or CGI. It was kind of hard to tell, but I think they kind of used both or something, but I may be wrong. I don't know. Adam Driver is a terrible actor, in my opinion, anyway, especially in this role as Kylo Ren. I don't like his acting at all. I didn't like it in The Force Awakens, and I don't like it here. I didn't like Supreme Leader Snoke again. He was 50 feet in the first one, some kind of hologram. This one, he's a regular-sized guy, so it made it more realistic. But, God, does he have leprosy or what? What's going on there? I mean, why does he have to look so deranged and disgusting? One of the funniest things, though, about this movie is that by the end of the movie, people were going to get blown up. You just have to see it. But by the end, my dad was saying, I don't care if they blow them all up. I just want this franchise. Just blow Star Wars up, period. You know what I mean? Pretty much that's what he was saying. He didn't care if all the characters went down at the end. And you know what? I was trying to think the same thing, put them out of their misery so we don't have to see Star Wars Episode 9. I mean, I'm sorry for anybody who watches this movie and actually enjoyed it. But man, they could have cut every part of Finn and and the other chick, Rose Tico. R2, he doesn't really make hardly any appearances in this. You mostly see BB-8. The Millennium Falcon doesn't do much flying around in this either. If you're looking for a lot of action out of the Falcon, most of the time it's sitting there. There's a lot of space battles, and there's some cool battles. The lightsaber scene in this movie, both of the scenes that involved lightsaber duels were not great. They do not compare to the last movies, especially the original movie lightsaber scenes. Even the Revenge of the Sith lightsaber scene between Obi-Wan and Anakin was better than any of the lightsaber scenes in this one. There were some cool kills, though, on the guys, but I mean, I just gotta say, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and this really let me down. I was disappointed. I gotta give it a 5 out of 10, guys. Here's a little bit on it. Star Wars The Last Jedi, also known as Star Wars Episode VIII The Last Jedi, is a 2017 American space opera film written and directed by Rian Johnson. It is the second film in the Star Wars sequel trilogy, following Star Wars The Force Awakens in 2015. The film is produced by Lucasfilms and distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures, and it stars Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Andy Serkis, Lupita Nyong'o, Domhnall Gleeson, Anthony Daniels, and Gwendolyn Christie in returning roles. So a lot of people returning in roles there, with Kelly Marie Tran, Laura Dern, and Benicio del Toro, who joined the cast. And I gotta say, Benicio del Toro's role was probably the most interesting character in the entire film, and he would have been a lot better in a main character role as like maybe one of the powerful people that I was telling you about. One of the women that were in a position of power could have been replaced with Del Toro, and gave it a little bit of a mix-up. I mean, because even Captain Phasma was leading the stormtroopers, and she was freaking a female. So it was like dominated by females, which is, I'm not trying to be sexist or anything, but the original Star Wars, you had Leia, and then you had Padme in the prequels. And other than that, I mean, other than like his aunt and stuff like that, I don't know of any other females. This one was just dominated. Every time you looked, there was a female on screen, which made it kind of just not feel like a Star Wars movie, in my opinion. It just didn't feel Star Wars. I think that we are safe to say that Star Wars is pretty much long gone as far as the franchise is concerned. They're pretty much just trying to aim these things at like children and the masses now, and it's not where like people are trying to do things out of the ordinary like George Lucas did. It's just trying to live off the old ones. Man, I was disappointed. It was cool to see Luke. I guess he did alright. I guess Rey did alright, but she didn't have much dialogue in this movie to say to make it interesting. So yeah, the movie just didn't interest me. I didn't like Finn or Rose in the movie. Chewbacca, you would think by now that he would be Grain or something, but he's still plain old Chewie, looking like he always did. I was kind of upset that R2 wasn't used much in the movie either. C-3PO was only used a few scenes. You don't see much out of him. Leia, obviously in her last role, I guess she did pretty good for going out in her last role. She had a lot of airtime in this movie. So if you're thinking you're just going to see a little bit of Leia, you're not. Carrie Fisher is in this movie quite a bit. So yeah, guys, I want to say, if you want to give it a shot and go find out for yourself if you like it or not, maybe you might go and like this film because you're looking for something other than what I'm looking for. But I'm looking for some depth and some story, and it's just not the same mystique as the original Star Wars does. Just like the prequels, these sequels just don't have the same mystique. And I could tell you what, I don't even know if you'll be hearing a review for episode 9 whenever they make it, because I'm just not too interested in going and seeing another one and being let down like that. Force Awakens, I would say, was better than this one too. I gave that slightly better review, I think, than this one. But I'm giving it a 5 out of 10 overall, guys. I recommend if you do see it, though, go see it in 3D because it does have killer effects and stuff like that. I'm not putting the entire movie down. There were some cool things about it. A lot of hints back to the original trilogy, which is expected. But yeah, it was just all over the place, in my opinion. They didn't know what kind of movie that they were trying to make. And the acting was weak. The dialogue was weak. The storyline was just really, it was just really dull. Like my dad says, I kind of wish they all would have just exploded in a blaze of glory at the end and said, that's the last of Star Wars. Unfortunately, we're going to have to sit through another one, and I probably will go see it because I'm a Star Wars fan, and I've done 2 reviews, and I kind of want to round it out, but I'm sorry to anybody who didn't like my opinion. I've heard a lot of positive about this movie, and when I watched it, I was way more hyped, I think, than I should have been because I was let down by what I saw. So yeah, guys, thanks for listening. Make sure you hit that subscribe, drop a comment down below on what you thought about the movie. Give me a like if you like what you heard. And yeah, guys, till next time, I really appreciate you listening to this Futures movie review on Star Wars Episode VIII, The Last Jedi. And yeah, guys, until next time, may the Force be with you. And, as always, Peace out.